Hi and welcome along to AFTV Transfer Deadline Day. We've been here all day. Well, listen, I've been here since bloody June, every single day, giving you updates on transfers. Somebody earlier on when I did one of these shows called it Yuri Tielemans Daily.
Feels like the whole summer been linked to him, boy.
All summer been linked to him, but it did not happen. Yuri Tielemans, of course, playing today. He was
Didn't
awful.
have a great game at all.
He was dreadful, man. Probably it's on his mind that he didn't get his move. But the one that Arsenal have been trying to get done all day long is a move for Douglas Luiz. And multiple outlets are reporting that that deal is not looking like it's going to happen. There's only, 29 minutes left of the transfer window. All day long, Aston Villa have been adamant that he's not for sale. Arsenal put in a first bid of around about £20 million. That was rejected. They then went back in with another bid of £23 million. That was rejected. And said to put in another bid this evening of £25 million. And that has been rejected. And Villa have told Arsenal, listen, he is not for sale. We are not selling Douglas Luiz. This is despite the player wanting the move. It's said that Douglas Luiz desperately wants to join Arsenal. He's only got 1 year left on his current contract. That means come January, he can talk to any club across Europe and sign a pre-contract. Come the end of next season, he walks away for absolutely nothing. I don't understand it with Aston Villa, but they are adamant. He's their player, and they are saying that he's not for sale, and it's not going to happen. And it's looking like this is it. What the business that we've done so far in the transfer window is going to be it, and Arsenal will not be making any more signings. And how do you feel about it?
No, Robbie, I'm a bit disappointed. I really believed. I've been on many streams this morning as well and throughout the day, and I kept saying I'm confident this deal is going to happen. It makes complete sense. Douglas Luiz worked with Mikel Arteta when I was at Man City at that time as well, and Edu, the Brazilian link, it all kind of made sense to me. Obviously, we saw the Gabriel Jesus. You see the image going around that was trending of them two talking after the game, having long discussions. We're in need of a midfielder. I think the price seems right. I thought they were holding out to keep pushing the price up. Every time we got rejected, I was like, don't worry, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. They're just trying to get more money out of it, because Aston Villa have also made a sign in that position as well. So
they signed Dendoncker,
exactly. Yeah. So it just makes, for me, it made complete sense. And I know there is still time. Listen, we've still got 25 minutes. No, I'm hopeful. I'm over the optimist. I still think it's going to happen. I think it makes complete sense. And we spoke about Yuri Tielemans. Didn't have a great game. I did have doubts about him anyway. Would have taken him, but I always questioned, his ability. So, but when Douglas Luiz came around and that link came, I was very happy. I think he's a profile for Arsenal. He's a dog in that midfield, works hard. We see that from a lot of the players currently in this Arsenal side. And I think he'd slot right in, still quite young as well. He's 25 years old. A player that I really do want to see sign. I'm seeing that clock count down, and it's very much frustrating me, because I need it'll be a shame to end the window in this way. It really would, and that's not to take away from how good this window has been. Arsenal got the job, the signing-ins early. It's probably one of my favourite windows from Arsenal in a very long time, off the back of last summer as well. But yeah, this is what it to be. Sorry, this would have been a perfect way to end the window. It seemed like it's going to come to a bit of a sad climax.
Anti-climax in a way, in that there was, over the last few days, actually, Mikel Arteta been talking up the fact that, looking at some quality signings, and if he can bring in quality, he will. There was talk of bringing in a winger before the window closed. That hasn't happened. There was talk of, obviously a midfield player. It all turned when we started now to see the injury situations. First of all, injury to Mohamed El Neni. Well, actually, first of all, injury to Thomas Partey, which brought in Mohamed El Neni. And then an injury to Mohamed El Neni is going to keep him out of the team for a long time. And then all of a sudden, attention then switching for Arsenal for them to try and bring in a defensive midfielder. And they've been trying over it's basically been since yesterday. They've been trying. They tried to see if they could hijack the deal for Leandro Paredes, the Argentinian from PSG, but he had already agreed to join Juventus. They was then apparently tried to hijack the deal for Idrissa Gueye, but he said, no, I've already agreed to join Everton. So he went to Everton. And then this morning we realised that they turned their attentions to Douglas Luiz. Makes perfect sense, but it's looking like it's not going to happen. Multiple outlets reporting that it looks like the deal is dead, and Aston Villa holding firm and saying, listen, we are not going to sell Douglas Luiz. I'm a bit baffled by it.
Yeah, do you believe them that they really are holding out, or do you believe that they don't want to sell him? Because we mentioned off camera just briefly, quickly, you said like for a player that he wants to come to Arsenal, for someone of a club to say, we don't want to sell you, when that manager may not even, like you mentioned before, but off camera, he may not be in charge long at Aston Villa, and then you've got a player there that could have had a dream move, and he's stuck there being unhappy and annoyed at his club. So that is something that they got to take into consideration. I know many clubs don't these days. It's business as usual, but the player, like he wants to move. It makes sense. There's money there as well.
Yeah, but he's their player. He's their player, and it's up to them. And if they, don't want to take the money for him, which I think £25 million for a player that, he's only started, I think he's only started one game for them this season. Mm-hmm. He came off the bench, remember, yesterday for them. He did score that goal for them, but he came off the bench for them. He's not exactly one of their main players, is he? You know what I mean? They probably start this weekend, he won't even start. So it's a real weird one. You know what I mean? I could understand it if he was like, if it was like, say, for instance, Crystal Palace and Zaha, you can understand it. It's like one of your main players.
Yeah.
And all right, even if you're getting money from him, you can't replace him. You can't replace him immediately. But Douglas Luiz, I mean, they've got already in that midfield. They've got a lot of talent in that midfield. John McGinn, they got Kamara, who they bought. You know what I mean? They've got quite a lot of players. Well. You would have thought they would probably have took the money, but listen, it's up to them. Aston Villa, they've stood firm. Probably were holding out for some sort of ridiculous bid for Arsenal. Arsenal, this whole transfer window, have been saying, listen, we are not going to pay crazy money for players. We're not going to.
We haven't panicked by the whole window.
We're not going to overpay for players, and they've stuck to that right to the end. But will it be to our detriment? Because we are now short in that midfield area. We go to Manchester United at the weekend. Sambi Lokonga will probably have to play in that position. Looked great last night, but he's a youngster, still learning his trade. And we know all about Thomas Partey and his injuries. Has only played 57% of the games since he's been at Arsenal. Is it a mistake from Arsenal not to have brought in a defensive midfielder? Listen, it's hard to blame Arsenal. They've tried with 3 different bids for the player, and they've all been rejected. So what can you do?
They've gone up in small increments, though, Rob. You see, that's a £2 million difference in each offer. There's a comment here from Alberta that says offer 30 million. I mean, is he a £30 million player? Is
£30 million.
Question.
So he's got 1 year left on his contract.
Second choice.
And Arsenal don't want to overpay. They don't want to pay mad money, they're saying. But, and how do we know that it's just the fact that Aston Villa are saying, listen, even if you offer 30, 40, we're not interested. We're not. If they turn around and say, we don't care what you offer, we're not taking it, the deal's dead.
Yeah. Does it feel like, back in January we was in need of a striker? I know we've made signings, so it kind of cancels out, but because we're such in need of a striker, similarly we're in need of a midfielder right now. The injuries are present right now at Arsenal. Does it feel similar to that, or are you looking over it from the deals we got done?
Not as bad as that. Because I felt at that time we left ourselves completely short by not bringing in a striker. We needed a midfielder then as well. Mm-hmm. We didn't bring that midfielder in. Not as bad as that, but it's a little bit like that in that we've had a good transfer window, but we're still going to end up leaving ourselves short in a very important area.
Yeah.
So it's a bit disappointing in that sense. But this could be the chance for Sambi Lokonga to step up and, play a big part playing in that area. I prefer Sambi Lokonga playing a bit further forward as a box-to-box midfielder. I would have liked to have seen a defensive midfielder coming in.
There's still
just
time
for the balance of the team.
There's still time, Robbie. Come on,
20 minutes left.
Still 20
until
minutes.
The window shuts, but I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen.
We're going to be here right to the final whistle, shall we say, to the last minute, last seconds.
This guy, okay, you're right. He says, United will show you reality. on the weekend. Listen, United didn't look that impressive tonight. That's nothing for Arsenal to fear, trust me. But listen, it's going to be a good game. Looking forward to it. Wayne Sage says, cue the Fanbase meltdown. 3, 2, 1. I've already seen some people with some crazy comments. Listen, let me just... I'm gonna, and I don't always do this, right? I'm gonna defend
Who?
the club right now. Edu, Arteta, whoever's Garlic, all the guys who do the transfer business.
Go on.
If you offer money for a player and the club says no, we're not interested, what can you do? That's it. You can't get the player, and then you can't just go out and get any old player that doesn't suit what Arsenal are going to do. We've done that many times over the years. Just gone and get any old player that's not going to fit what we're trying to do. So
there'll be a portion of people saying, no, just offer more money though, Robbie. There'll be people saying,
all right, let's go. Offer 60 million for Douglas Luiz with a 1 year left on his contract. I think when you're going into any negotiations, you have your ceiling, you have your price that you're not going to go above. You look at what the player's worth. I feel going in for a player that's got 1 year left on his contract, a defensive midfielder has got 1 year left on his contract, that's at Aston Villa, I think already bidding 20 million is over. What we should probably be paying for him, it should probably be about 15 million. To go up to 25, I think that is more than a very reasonable bid. Maybe they could have added a little bit, maybe gone up to about, I don't know, getting towards the 30s. I don't know, but maybe they've just been told that, we're not going to accept anything more less than 35 or something like. It's negotiations.
I hear you, Rob. But so you're going to defend the club. I'm going to be the other side.
You can't just pay whatever.
I'll be the other side. But then there are going to be people saying, well, they've had 2 months now to decide about what's going on with Tielemans. All this time, and they haven't got the deal done. We've been waiting. It seemed like he wanted to come to Arsenal. What happened with that deal? That's going to be the next argument.
But I think what we're dealing here is we're dealing with something specific that's happened, which is we've had an injury to Partey and an injury to Mohamed El Neni. That's 2 players. There's always a talk about having 2 players to cover every position, right? Those are the 2 players that cover that position. They're both out. They've had to sort of go into an emergency mode to try and bring in a defensive midfielder, right? They've had to shelve whatever plans they have for a more forwards-thinking midfielder or a more sort of deep-lying player that's like a playmaker like Tielemans and say, right, we need an actual DM, right? They've had to change tack to do that. And at the end of the day, right, they thought that, because apparently they were told, the rumours were up to last week that Villa would accept £15 million for Douglas Luiz. They've turned to that. And now all of a sudden Villa have said, no, we want 25, we want crazy money for him, or we don't even want to sell him at all. What can you do? There's nothing you can do with that. I don't know, this guy here, Neil De Souza, he says, very disappointed, but we can't pay £35 million for a player with 1 year left. He's not Rodri. We've got a backup with Sambi and we'll get a better player in January. And it's one of these situations sometimes where you just say, maybe you don't panic. The one in January was different. We needed a striker. When Aubameyang left, I felt, fair enough, we don't know what's gone on between the manager and the player, but we've got to get a replacement in, and we didn't, and I thought that was a big error, right? But this one, I'm looking at it and thinking, they've tried.
But is that enough though?
They've tried. They put bids in and they've. Well, what are you going to do?
I know. I hear that.
You're going to kidnap the guy?
No, but it's the same situation. And he said we needed a striker. We didn't need a striker. We now need a defensive midfielder.
We do, but what are you going to do? Who are you going to get if there's none? If there's none that's going to suit what Arsenal want available. But what are you going to do?
Would that be the same argument as the striker in January then? Was there, because we kept saying there must have been someone out there, must have been some player.
The difference with that one is they knew for quite a long time that Aubameyang was going to be going. They knew Aubameyang weren't playing no more, right? This situation has emerged like the day before literally a couple of days before the transfer window's closed, and they've had to change tact on the whole thing completely. So that's where I think is the difference.
Rob, come on, you're being generous there. We knew we needed a midfielder from January as well.
No,
let's be real here.
No, hold on. We've known that we've needed a defensive midfield over the last. It was a couple of days ago we heard about the El Neni injury and how serious that's going to be, and that's going to keep him out for a long time, right? So he's got a couple of days to try and think, oh, right, we have to reset and go after a defensive midfielder now. Whereas in January, we knew all January we going to need a striker because, Aubameyang's going to go. Right at the start of the window, we were after Vlahovic, and that fell through, and then we didn't really go and get another striker. That's different. A whole month didn't get the job done. Over the last couple of days, they've identified their target in Douglas Luiz. They've tried. Club don't want to sell him.
I know, Rob. Yeah, but look how many transfer days you did trying to link to Tielemans. That they clearly wanted a defensive midfielder. I know we're talking about Douglas Luiz, but it's again they've addressed that that's who they want to get.
The thing with Tielemans is it looked from like a little while back now that, and there's all these rumours that they're prepared to wait. Right throughout doing a lot of my transfer dailies and speaking about Tielemans every day, I was saying that this is, it's a bit strange, but it's interesting that no teams have really gone in for Tielemans. Looks like they've got some sort of agreement with Tielemans, like what they had with Jesus, where they'll just probably go in for him in January and get him way cheaper. There's no rush on that. But with the defensive midfielder, with the injuries, there's a rush on that. And unfortunately, they haven't been able to get it done.
Fair enough. All right, well, I still want, listen, I do want Douglas Luiz. There's, like I said, optimism. There's still time, but I feel like, we needed a midfielder, whether that was an 8 or a 6. That was priority at some point. We're sure being linked to Tielemans.
We definitely need a 6.
So exactly that. And either still now because of the injuries, it should be priority. But we'll see. We've got 10 minutes left. I'm still surprised why Aston Villa are holding
40
out.
40 minutes left. It ain't gonna happen, man. It ain't gonna happen. Zappy Allen says this is January all over again. I'm sorry, but Y2F. Bob Marley says if we fill the squad with 6 to 10 players, we won't have space for marquee signings when we go into the Champions League. Remember, we haven't seen Emile Smith-Rowe or Vieira yet. That's very true. Amory Nail says the probability that injuries happening to players in the same position is low. Besides, Lokonga did well against Villa.
He did.
It's not all doom and gloom. Sorry, that just flew past me. Mike Sager says we can get Douglas next summer for free. I don't understand Villa, by the way.
Yeah, I know. They just made a signing as well.
Villa.
Like,
why are
they holding on to him?
Yeah. You're going to have a very unhappy player there. Francis says, last season we had 24 senior players and we had no Europe. This season, 23 senior players with Europe and with the World Cup. No depth equals no top 4, only Arsenal. Now, I've seen people saying that listen, we've got a smaller squad now than we did last year. But by one player, I get that. But I feel that it's a better squad. When you look on the bench, there's more depth than there was last year because it's just all kids on that bench. So, quick response says you'll regret talking up the board, Robbie. Have you not learned? We should have got this. We should have sorted this position at the start of the window. So naive if you believe that this won't hurt us. Now, like I said, it wasn't a priority position at the start of the window. It's become a priority position over the past couple of days because of a situation that has arisen. You've got to understand that. We can't just fly off the handle and say, oh, well, why have they not got it? It's a situation that's happened. JBL says Fanbase is too reactive. Been a good window. Don't forget Zinchenko and Ben White can both play as a CDM. It's been a good window. We have depth now. Remember I was saying the other day that maybe we should try Ben White in that defensive midfield position, put Tomiyasu on the right-hand side. That's an option.
Would you want that? Would you put Zinchenko there?
I would have mind trying that. You can play Zinchenko in the midfield as well. He plays for the midfield in Ukraine. He plays a bit further forward.
Plays more of the 8 role.
I'm thinking Ben White, with how I've seen him, how good he is on the ball, how good he is at bringing the ball forward, his passing's good. I definitely think he could play as a defensive midfielder. Not perfectly ideal, but he could cover there. London Nomad says, given that we're short in midfield, why are we letting Ainsley Maitland-Niles leave? He may not be in Arteta's plans, But given the situation, why is he being let to go? Because I feel with Ainsley Maitland-Niles,
he wants more game time.
He said to them, I want to play. Mikel Arteta said the other day, he said himself, he wants to play. And I think they're looking at it, because remember the last time they asked him to stay on and he didn't really play. And I think they're just being fair to him and saying, listen, go and play some games. And so if he stayed, I don't think Ainsley Maitland-Niles isn't going to play. He's not going to play as a defensive midfielder.
No, that's where he want to play further up the field. But big up London Nomad, because I had the argument with Turkish on the live, and I said I think it's a shame Ainsley Maitland.
It's a shame, but there's no point. He's not a defensive midfielder, so no point in keeping him for that position either. And we brought in Fabio Vieira. We haven't even. People are moaning last night that why, Yardman was going, why haven't we not even seen Vieira yet? If you're going to bring in someone, keep Ainsley Maitland-Niles. How's he going to play? Mike Sager says Villa have now got a disinterested player who will go for free in 9 months. That's why it don't really make no sense to me. Unless he signs a brand new contract. It sounds really, really weird that they've kept him.
Yeah, I can't believe they're holding on to him. And like we mentioned as well, like the manager might not even be there the way the performances are going. So that would be even worse for that player.
I think they've definitely got a disinterested player who's going to be really unhappy about this.
Very.
Hadi says, but is it right for us to put all of our eggs in one basket? We saw Chelsea switch from Alvarez to Zakaria in almost no time. Always need a plan B and C. Fair enough. Zakaria on loan. Maybe it's something that we could have went for, but listen, Chelsea got him before us. C-Red said we missed the top four last time because of the midfield. So sad. Miles Smith says 30 million for Luiz and 30 million for Tielemans in September. 30 million for both in January. Edu Masterclass. They may not even go for Luiz in January because there's a big rumour that, it might be easier to go for Danilo in January. Fanbase is too reactive, says JBL. Been a good window. We've got depth. Zinchenko and Ben White can play as CDM. We're top of the effing league, says Large for Life. Paul Stredder says, I think we should have got a striker. Jesus gets injured. Is Eddie really the solution?
He's been playing really well.
He's been playing well. I would have liked to have seen a different type of striker. I keep saying it.
Saying that, yeah, you
but
do.
Who? Again, who
it's
out
hard
there?
To get strikers right now on the market. Good strikers.
Javier says, you'd think that because of Partey's injury record, Arsenal would be replacing him as a priority.
That's a great super chat.
Lee says, do you think that Gerrard kept Luiz because we beat them? VJ says, last interview, Arteta said Zinchenko can play as a holding midfielder when asked about Zinni's versatility. Do you think we may see Xhaka and Zinni midfield at Old Trafford and Kieran Tierney at left back? Maybe. Quick Response says this is a priority position and everybody said. Lewis W says, can we just big you guys up for the coverage and news over this window? Hopefully we can get some news on the injuries like Odegaard. I'm sure we hear from the manager tomorrow.
Very interesting for
thank you very much for that.
Sunday.
Emerson Ford says, so only want to buy players when we're in a crisis for you then, Rob. I like the positivity, but we brought this window down to it's brought this window down to a 6 for me. I'm just saying that, listen, I'm just trying to be real right now. The situation that's arisen where we've needed... I don't think Douglas Luiz was a target for Arsenal a couple of days ago.
Yeah,
Let's be real. You tell me one fan out there, right, that thought we were going to sign Douglas Luiz, or if Douglas Luiz's name would have come up a few days ago as a signing, would you have been jumping up and down? But because the situation has changed, because of injuries, now we all say, right, no, we do need to go and get a defensive-minded midfield player like Douglas Luiz.
I think Douglas Luiz, if that name came about, I don't think people would jump for joy, but I do think that position is something that we should have been wanting to target and wanting to strengthen in 100%. And with that super chat before about the Partey's injury record, it's very clear we need to upgrade in that position or have competition for Partey, because he's not playing enough games. He's played I think half of the games for Arsenal due to injury and being out. So it's definitely going to be a priority. But listen, it doesn't dampen my mood too much. I've been on streams all day and I rated Arsenal's window at the start of this window. I said it was 8. I was very happy with the team getting the board getting the deals done early. The the impact of these players. Obviously 5 wins out of 5, so I've really rated it high. There's now come up to 3 minutes or 3.5 minutes left of this window, and yes, we maybe felt like we're going to be left short, but like we said and mentioned in these comments as well, that there is cover for those positions, but it's a shame because I think Douglas Luiz seems like the perfect fit for this Arsenal side regardless, but Aston Villa playing hardball.
1980 Rule says, disappointing that we did not address a position we've known about to have an issue in for a while. I hate to disrespect El Neni, but if we're not going to get anyone, I think just El Neni, even Sambi is naive. KD says, Robbie, why do you think we didn't get a right winger? Would have liked a right winger if Luiz deal was so hard. What are your thoughts? I would have liked the right winger I wanted. I saw us getting linked with various different right wingers. The one that I wanted was Pedro Neto. That is the one that I wanted to see at Arsenal. I, again, didn't want Arsenal to just go out and get any old right winger, right? I want someone that's going to come and give proper competition to Saka. I'm surprised we didn't get a right winger in, especially after letting Nicolas Pepe go. But then I understand why he's let Nicolas Pepe go, because he just don't trust Nicolas Pepe. Nicolas Pepe is not an Arteta type player. He doesn't work back. He doesn't trap back. He's not aggressive enough.
Decision making is
it's not his type of player. So again, we were going to have a player that was hardly going to play. Maybe Fabio Vieira might be able to come in and do a job in that position. But maybe we'll see more of Smith Rowe be able to come in and play in that position. Let's wait and see. But I would have loved to have seen Pedro Neto in there. VJ says the biggest transfer of this season is the mental state of us Arsenal fans, from being okay right out to the crazy deadline day. Our players can cope. Listen, it would have been nice as well to have made a signing on deadline day, just to have rounded off a great transfer window so far. But in the end, it's a little bit of an anticlimax because we know now we've left ourselves short in a particular area. I get it.
I see that clock running down.
I get the disappointment,
and I am feeling disappointed.
But 2 minutes ago,
and I'll be leaving on the deadline day whistle. But Robbie, we have to obviously give you. I want to give you some flowers as well for just transfer daily throughout this whole summer. Big up to you, because I know. Listen, you go through these hard hours in the morning, waking up, doing all the rumours and. Well,
at least this window we sign people.
Yes,
you know, I mean we've had window. I had a window one time when the only signing was Petr Cech. Right, so I will never forget that window. Trust me. So this has been a lot better than that, I can tell you that.
It has.
The biggest transfer is... Oh, you did that one already. Quick response.
Thank you for the super chats, everyone, by the way.
CM says, in general, we needed sorting this position for years. I don't get your argument. We all wanted Basuma. And at the start of the window, I said we should try and get Basuma. Such a short-term memory, Robin.
Oh, it's coming for you?
No, at the start of the window, I was getting grief because I was like, Basuma, why didn't we get Basuma for 25 million? But we didn't. We went on. We made some great signings.
We did.
We thought we were good in that area. It's not because the injuries now we're a bit short. Sharia says, have you seen our schedule before the World Cup? Look at our midfield and injuries. Not that confident of a top 4. Remember, some of these injuries might be back by then. What a deadline day it's been, says Yahtzee Man. He says, but at least we have Robbie and Cecil here with us. Big up to you guys over at AFTV for the fantastic coverage. Mark my words, says Arteta can't win. Spend money, don't spend money, get rid of players, don't get rid of players. We're quick to forget the joy he has brought back to our club.
I don't think we're overly criticising Mikel Arteta and whatnot. The window is officially closed, people. And
the window is closed.
And it's
shut.
Damn.
Where is he? You said your confidence can happen.
I did say that on many streams today. Douglas Luiz. Do you know what?
Dougie ain't signed.
Just quickly, I mentioned this before. I played a charity match with loads of Brazilians, and Edu and Douglas Luiz were involved in it as well. The likes of Gabriel Magalhães was there, and I just felt like there was a connection to João Pedro as well at Watford. So I thought this seemed like it just seemed so right. Again, the Mikel Arteta and the Man City link there, and I really believe he was going to come, but unfortunately, window is now closed. He's not going to be an Arsenal player this summer window. Whether we go for him in the next one, it'll be another question. But big shame. We are left a little short in that defensive midfield role in that 6, but Listen, all's well as end well. I trust in Mikel Arteta.
Hector Bellerin has joined Barcelona on a free transfer. That's just been confirmed by Fabrizio Romano. So that deal has definitely gone through. So plenty of players have left. But Douglas Luiz is not a player that is signed for Arsenal. And it's ended up on deadline day. We've been here all day tracking it, that Arsenal have not made any signings on deadline day, have not been able to get the deal done. Once again, filling you in. First bidding for £20 million for Douglas Luiz, rejected. Second bid, £23 million, rejected.
Yeah.
Third and final bid, £25 million, rejected as well.
Right.
Yeah, and I know you've got to jump out now.
I'm going to have to get head out, but it's been a very long day. And we'll be back tomorrow as well, doing plenty of content. But
Worries,
I know I'm going to leave you, Robbie.
No, you've got to get he's got to get his, with all these train strikes going on, right? So you've got to get his train. I'm still here, right? So listen, I'm still in the building, and I still want to hear from you guys. How do you rate the window out of 10? How do you rate Arsenal's transfer window out of 10? Let me just refresh you. First of all, let me tell you, these are the players that have left Arsenal this transfer window. Mavropanos, 2.9 million to Stuttgart. Alexander Lacazette went on a free to Lyon. Harry Clark, loan to Stoke City. Tyrese John-Jules, loan to Ipswich. Jordi Osei-Tutu left for undisclosed fee to Bochum over there in Germany. Daniel Ballard, undisclosed deal to Sunderland. Matteo Guendouzi, 9.9 million to Marseille. Zach Swanson, undisclosed fee to Portsmouth. Austin Trusty went out on loan to Birmingham City. Nuno Tavares, a loan to Marseille. Arthur Akawanko went on loan to Crewe Alexander. Mazid Kongu went to Crawley Town on loan. Bern Leno joined Fulham for £3 million. Following Balogun went on loan to Reims. Charlie Patino, a loan to Blackpool. Lucas Torreira sold for £5.4 million to Galatasaray. Pablo Mari went on loan to Monza. Alex Runarsson loaned to Allianz Sport. Brooke Norton Cuffy loaned to Rotherham United. Saladin Ulad Mahad went on loan to Hull City. Nicolas Pepe loaned to Nice. James Aliyanke went on a free to Cheltenham Town, and Ainsley Maitland-Niles loaned to Southampton, and of course Hector Bellerin has joined Barcelona, contract terminated. The players that have come in: Marquinhos from Sao Paulo for £3.2 million. That's what we paid for him. Fabio Vieira, £31.5 million, signed from Porto. Matt Turner, we signed for $5.7 million from the New England Revolution. Gabriel Jesus for £47 million from Manchester City, and Zinchenko also for £31.5 million from Manchester City. Those are the signings for Arsenal this summer, and those are the lots and lots and lots of outgoings, by the way. How do you rate the window out of 10? And we've got a little survey going on it at the moment. 25% of you has given it an 8 to 10. 60% of you rated between 5 and 7, 11% between 2 and 5, and only 4% of you between 0 and 1. But how do you rate the window? Let me keep some of those comments. Lots of them still coming in, and really, really appreciate them. Edu worked in silence, said Freddie Barnes James. We're taking a huge risk this season, says Real Madrid Arsenal. I'm hurting, says D3M1. BD says 5 out of 10. Jesus and Zinchenko, good signing. Vieira injured. Nietzsche says, looking at the next 5 league games, a CDM was a must buy. Obi Webb Jabroni says, How have we not addressed the number 6? It's baffling. True Gunner TV says, this reminds me of Claude. For everyone else, it's deadline day. For Arsenal fans, it's just Thursday. I remember when Claude said that. Trust me. Sinan says, why the F we put in a sell-on clause in a 1-year contract for Bellerin? 6 out of 10 for the window. With 2 more signings, a CDM and a right winger, it would have been 8 out of 10. Makram says, big up to Arsenal despite no deals being done. I think this has been a wonderful window, well done on the outgoings. Also 8 out of 10. Sambi is ready. Let's not forget Fabio. Looking forward to YTD in January. I love the manager, but I'm hurting, says D3M1. Lewis W says 9 out of 10. Very savvy business compared to Chelsea. We spent well. You have to remember, we wanted Isaac and we saved around £20 million for Jesus. As you say, if we could have got a CMDM, it would have been a 10 out of 10. Jonathan James says, Man City spending has created a totally unrealistic expectation regarding depth. We can't afford to have 3 world-class players in every position. Miles Smith says also, been a solid window. Not only have we added quality, we did it early, and it's showing. Injuries will happen, but I'm happy with the players that we have. TB says, knew the injuries would come. Why not get any backup? Emerson Ford says, for you, Rob, it's not much money, but this is... this is for you wasting time on Tielemans. Thank you very much and the team for your endless hours of content. 6 out of 5 for the window. Thank you very much, Emerson. Daniel says, never mind the signings. Sunday is a must win. If United end our winning streak, they won't shut up about it for the whole season. That's very, very true. So yeah, that's it. The window is concluded. And this guy here, 10 Toes, says, Edu is a bottle job. Jeez. Very disappointing, says Neil. Oh, no, sorry, I already did that one. Let's just get this other one. There was one I was trying to find. What about the 2 mystery signings? Will they remain a mystery, Scott Hall? They remain a mystery. Skills says, crappy window. Come on. A few days ago, everyone was saying it has been a great window so far. We didn't round it off with the player that we wanted in Douglas Luiz. You know, can't get everything you want. Neto would have been a great signing for me. I would have loved to have seen that. I would have been super excited to have seen him in an Arsenal shirt. But again, they did not want to sell Pedro Neto. I'm still focused on the matches, says Leachy. On the field stuff is what I care about. And so far, we've been electric. Very true. And we can't let this... the fact that we haven't been able to bring in Douglas Luiz on the final day of the window derail what we've been doing so far. It's been a great window. We brought these players in early. They've had a great pre-season. They've been ready. They've been hungry. We've been derailed really by a couple of injuries. Let's face it. But we were unable to get it over the line with Douglas Luiz. And what state of mind is he going to be in right now? You know? Douglas Luiz, I'm sure he's going to be really, really unhappy that he didn't get the move that he really, really wanted. Joseph says, Robbie, yes, we can't get everything we want, but we have to be in this position before we need it, and it was a priority. Maitland-Niles going out, Kamal says, on loan when we were short in our midfield. Well, Maitland-Niles is not going to play. Come on, where's he going to play? Be real. He wouldn't have played. Lewis W says, hashtag EduOut is trending on Twitter, which is ridiculous. What more do Arsenal fans expect? I don't get how that's trending. It's ridiculous. It's been a good week. Gabriel Jesus, great signing. 45 million at absolute steal. Zinchenko, absolute steal. The one we're all waiting to see, is Fabio Vieira. Look, if Fabio Vieira comes, that's a string of great games. Everybody like, yeah, see, we didn't need anyone. Let's wait. Chill out. Although I would have loved to have seen Neto, and I get it. I would have loved to have seen Douglas Luiz, but Can't get everything you want in a transfer window. And believe you me, I remember some horror transfer windows for Arsenal. I mean, horror. As I said, that window when our only signing was Petr Cech. Numerous windows when we've known what we've needed across multiple positions and we've not addressed it. Red Journey says, we did not give them Smith Rowe. Now they do the same. They've got their little bit of revenge, although I think it's stupid revenge because come January, I said it earlier on the stream when I was doing it with Turkish. Because it's such a weird season with the World Cup in it, effectively, they've kept Douglas Luiz for 2 months. September, October, get into November, the World Cup starts. Then the World Cup finishes and then the players are back playing their first game in the Premier League on Boxing Day, the 26th of December. Then a few days after that, it's January. It's the January transfer window. So they've kept him for a couple of months. Then when the January transfer window comes around, there's going to be loads of speculation again for Douglas Luiz, unless they sign him to some big contract and he gets a big, new contract with massive wages. If not, after those 2 months, he becomes vulnerable again in January. Apart from this time, there is no way any team is going to offer no £25 million for Douglas Luiz. They'd be lucky to get 10 million for him with 6 months left. I don't get what Aston Villa have been holding out for. I don't really understand it, but it's up to them. And I reckon in January, I don't think, if I'm being honest, I think we'll probably go more for Danilo than we will for Douglas Luiz come January. I really do think that because Danilo was the player that they really wanted to get in the first place. That was the first player that Arsenal went in for, put a bid in for, but Palmeiras still really in the heart of their season, still with really, really important games to go in their league, wanted to hold on to him. I think come January, it might be more Danilo that we go for than Douglas Luiz. Is there any free agent we can look at, says KD? I don't know who the free agents are. We're going to have to take a look at that, but you never know. There might be a free agent out there. I saw Danny Rose got released, but I don't think that would go down very well at Arsenal. Quick response says, we all know what happens with injuries. Get real. David, the student, says, what we would have loved is new mid, but I like how Arsenal walk away from deals instead of overpaying. And you got to do that sometimes. You got to do that. You got to say to teams, well, you know what, we ain't paying more than that. It's stuff you lot and keep him. Constantine says 6 out of 10 in the window, and I'm being very generous. The wheels will start to come off, starting at Old Trafford. Thanks for your optimism. One injury to Jesus, and we're back to our squad from last year. I have to say that's a vital player that we can't afford to get injured. MS45 says, hi Robbie, we are winning. Everything is going well, but you never ever forget that we are Arsenal. Everything can collapse within a second. Kevin Bean says, we do not have enough depth, especially given the fact that most of our starters are going to the World Cup. We'll be lucky if we finish 5th. Jesus, man. Cam says a good window, but the squad depth could mess us up. For some weird reason, I'm not confident for Sunday when I should be. What do you think, Robbie? Well, listen, we've got a poor record at Man United. I'll watch United tonight. They're not all that. But we've been to Old Trafford many times and they ain't been all that, and we still got beat. Tough game. If we could go there and get a result, it really would be a real game changer and really would show that we turned the corner. Makram says, on the flip side, if we waited till today to bring in Zinchenko, Jesus, we'd all be giving it up to Edu. But since all of the good deals were done early on a different energy today, we did wonderful. Great point. Who's that? Makram. That is a fantastic point, because if we'd hardly done anything, and then on the final day, we, like he said, bought in Jesus and Zinchenko, we'd be like, oh, fantastic signings. We bought them in early. They've had a pre-season and they've been flying. Although Zinchenko's injured at the moment. VJ says, it was a good window, 7 out of 10 for me. 1 point loss for outgoings, going for a bit too cheap. Understand the club has done well for players' sake, but not for business-wise. 1 loss each for a DM and winger, but overall quite good. Quick response says it's not our money. Who cares? We bottled it. It's not our money, but you still got to, I get that, but the guys who are doing the negotiation will have a certain budget that they're given from the owners, and they have to live within those means. And also, you've got to live within the means of financial fair play as well. And we spent a lot of money this transfer window. We spent a lot of money the last transfer window. David, the student, says Saliba. Number 2, Zap says, hello from Bristol, Robbie. Been an Arsenal fan since I was 8 years old. Love what you do, mate. And he does the Saliba song. Big up to you. I'm going to do, let me see if I can get one more. Clayton. And Randolph says, I'm not as optimistic anymore. So we don't have any DM for Sunday. I'm seriously disappointed. Well, Sammy Lukonga will be that guy. Constantine says, I'm not being negative, Robbie. Last year, we won 5 on a row until we went to Liverpool, signed nobody in January and ended up 5th. Short-term memory. Well, I think the team's playing differently. I think this is a better team this year. I think we've made some good signings. I understand the disappointment we would all have loved on the final day to have bought in Douglas Luiz, but it didn't happen, unfortunately. And the team that we got is the team that we've got. Let me remind you again, I'm not going to give you all the outs because there's loads of them, but the players that have come in: Marquinhos, Fabio Vieira, Matt Turner, Gabriel Jesus, and Oleksandr Zinchenko. Those are the signings made by Arsenal this summer. We go to Manchester United at the weekend, and let's hope that we can continue our winning run. We've started the season 5 wins out of 5. This is the team that we got, ladies and gentlemen, until January at least. And this team we will have to back. Thanks for watching the show. I want to thank everybody that's been watching Transfer Daily right throughout the summer. Every single day, keeping you up with players linked, hundreds of them. I want to thank you all. I want to thank the team as well. Guys like Brennan, Joe, Hass, those guys who work on the show tirelessly as well every single morning with me. Thank you very much for you guys, and thank you very much for you guys for watching the show. The numbers this season have been absolutely incredible. But now the transfer window is closed. It's down to business in the league. We've got the players. What can we do? Thanks for watching. Good night. And it's the end of our transfer deadline day.